Hey everyone, Hans here. All of you are doing well. I got an immense glare of the sun in my face, but I'm gonna try to bear it. So, what am I gonna talk about today? I had three topics in mind, but I think I'm only gonna address the one. We'll see where it goes. So I wanted to talk about fear, how it can be a motivator rather than a wall that stops you, like the ancestors looked at it. I wanted to also talk a bit about the artificial ways by which you are put up against others, and actually how focusing your dislike upon others can actually be a distraction from doing what is right. But I wanted to, in the first place, at least talk a bit in regards to something that Southern Nordic brings up in his last video, and it's about our guys. Those two words. I want to add a question mark behind it. See, when I hear talk about our guys, and I could be wrong, but I think I'm not. When I hear talk about our guys, it usually revolves around wanting them to be part of the mainstream in society and inject their ideas, their way of life, whatever they prefer, to become the mainstream, to push anything aside that is considered as harmful. And these our guys are supposed to do it. Now, you see, there is an exercise that I do, and I do it annually, every New Year. That's what New Year is for. And it's to look back, or I should say old year, really. But what have you? That's the good time to contemplate about such things. You look back and you say, okay, where have my investments in my finite time, before my life is over, have been of value? And where have I wasted my time? In the last 10 years, I have observed that there are these types who are either naively or even desperately claiming that our guys are making it. They're getting more attention, they're speaking more openly than they did before. They're getting in the mainstream and so forth and so on. But then, as far as I'm aware, it always ends up in either disappointment, sometimes because of those guys, sometimes because they get ignored by everyone around them. So even if they have an office, they do not do anything because they're just kept in check that way. And there is, of course, the charlatans. Right. If you look back at 2015, let's say, have you? Do you think that everyone you've promoted, you thought it was gonna do something good? Have they done so by now? Have your ideas been satisfactorily, I think that's how you pronounce it, have they made it in the mainstream in the last 10 years? You know, you could say that there were figures whose ideas lie very close to yours that made it, and they did well. But was that really one of these our guys? Or was it just someone whose ideas lie very close, but that the fundamentals of things not really was so? I'm genuinely asking this because if I listen to these words, I'm looking for someone that I can identify with as someone who has the same virtues, the same morals, and personally, I'm not politically minded whatsoever. I keep an eye on it though once in a while, but I'm not politically minded. Has this person translated these virtues and morals, ways of life, properly into an artificial way, into the political system? Can it be translated into laws, maybe? or punishments for criminality. Has that happened at all? For myself, I cannot say so. Maybe for some others. But then, are we one another's our guys? Because, and I'll leave it there. I just wanted to set that up for a moment, set up that image. I think it's a fair one. I think it makes sense. And the reason why I do it is so, well, maybe some people out there who have invested a lot of their lifetime, not just time, their lifetime in this, will do something new. Even add something new, if you will. Whatever that is going to be, something to improve your life with. And not just endlessly wait for someone else to do what you actually perhaps should be doing yourself. But here is the problem with politics. I've seen many people, many friends of mine, they go into politics, they're like busy with it every day because it's very demanding, right? It's like job politics. By which I mean like they're reading books in the evening, etc., which is a good thing in and of itself. Yet, they meet a lot of people in that same, let's just say, current of politics who they absolutely despise. Because you may share the same politics with someone, but that does not make them necessarily good friends. Doesn't make them trustworthy even. That is why I do not care about it. I really do not. It's uh, it's a pitfall of vipers to me, but that is my opinion. Maybe others are more lucky. It's possible. But I think it is far better to bond over your personal virtues, to work on your virtues, of course, to bond together over your morals, to bond together over an overall goal that you can achieve with the people that you care about. But to band together with people who just follow a certain idea, who all see that idea in their own individual way, by the way. It's really not that. Mm, it's 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 almost a pseudo collective in a way. Has it gotten anyone anywhere? The ones who are wielding the scepter and the golden globe, like these uh, monarchs of before, who were used to taking what they wanted by force and probably still do so. Well, yeah, they're still doing fine, right? But that's exactly why. They might even paint you an image that these our guys even have a chance of getting in there in with that system. Mm. And by I shall one continue on that. By that metric of thought, I thought it was worthwhile to question who are these our guys. Yeah, I think I've painted the image that I wanted to paint, and I think I've said what I needed to say on that already. Um, I'd expected it to be a bit longer, but all the better if it's quicker. Um, but yeah, the whole point is not to discourage people. The point is basically, if you invested your time well, can you be honest enough to look at the last 10 years and say that you've just been a couch potato in the world, so to say, and by extent of that, you have not been doing what you should have been doing, whichever that is. It's not for me to say, but that you've been waiting for someone else to fix the job. Mm. Have you have you worked on yourself, or did you figure it wasn't necessary? Have you shifted? Have you considered maybe? Well, if you listen to Hans a little bit, to his videos, have you considered this artificial and natural hierarchy dichotomy, which I believe is a fair dichotomy? Do you follow the politics, or do you follow that which is natural? Do we listen? Are our guys the ones with the most talents, the strongest expression of the virtues that we want? Are these the guys we're gonna listen to? Or are we gonna listen to the dudes who wear the pretty tuxedos and are, in front of a microphone a lot, um, but you do not even know them personally? Who do you think is most trustworthy? Could be the guys in the tuxedos, I guess. I haven't seen it myself, though. I mean, it may also be worthwhile to realize how many individuals have actually shown up in the political sphere. Maybe I shall end with that, yeah. I have seen in the last 10 years a lot of individuals. They show up, they're all prettied up, females and males alike, their tuxedos, their lipstick and their hair, done in what is supposed to be pretty, I guess, I don't know. What is socially acceptable, what is mainstream acceptable in certain spheres, I suppose. Um, and they are there for your attention, they're there for your money, and they're gonna make things happen. And then they get the money, the trust is given to them, and by extent the money, and then all of a sudden they leave. Or stories get unfolded about them, less than pleasant stuff, that they have not entirely been the individuals that they display themselves to be. I, I can, or they sell you a lot of books. You buy them, an entire group of people buys them. They think they have enough, and zoom, they're out of there. They're gonna go back to their personal lives. And you could even argue then, it's like, but that is stupid because there are those out there that want to harm all of us. Anti-whites are a thing. Why would you do that to your own people? Why would you think that with your money you can escape? Well, there are short-sighted people out there. There are greedy people out there. They are, uh, there are just those who aren't that smart, but they are cunning, and they are they are selfish people. And selfish in the sense of they only do what is right by themselves, and if they have to walk over other people's skulls, they'll happily do so. They'll happily do so. Yeah. And all you then need is trusting, naive and or desperate people. I cannot hope that well, let's just put it like this. It's important to realize, have I been one of those or not? Do you dare question that to yourself? And if you have been, what do you need to change about your own persona? Your own personality, not persona, I think. That's not the best way to put that. But yeah. How many have there been? Can you name them? Can you list them? I think that's a good thing. Means you can also hold them accountable. Why did you betray us, if you will? Why did you steal? And if they then waive their legal papers, it wasn't theft. It was all by the books. Well, okay, sure. But you still presented you're someone as something you're not. So it was all a deception anyways. So it's still immoral, if you will. Whatever the papers say. There you have your artificiality of it all again, right? Whatever is written on the paper magically makes it true, or whatever. Still people's actions that count more, right? I hope so. I hope that people realize that. There was one more thing all of a sudden that popped to my mind, and now it slipped away again. Yeah, make that list though, and be honest to yourself. Can you do that? And then, of course, you can look at what is ahead of your life, make make a presumption, I suppose, or make an assumption. The presumption being, okay, are there any of these hour guys out there at all? Guess not. If there are, all the better. Maybe you'll know a few. But if not, what do you do then? Gonna stick around there? Or are you gonna find new rivers to look at? To go fish at? um, yeah, the presumption could be, well, are there potentially more of these, these people who pretend to be our guys? Trickery. Have you considered it? Have you been tricked? And I know people do not like to say to themselves that they've been tricked. But I can assure you, that's how tricksters get by. And that's how you're gonna definitely be tricked again. It's the people who have the spine to say, I was wrong. And I stand by my mistakes. And I'm gonna do better in the rest of my life. Because it is finite, it cannot be allowed to be wasted. Yeah. Still trying to think of that one bit. But I can't think of it anymore. Bit of a pity. There's something else that I can add to that. I think also, or maybe I should speak from anecdote a little. In the last 10 years I've seen people, yeah, let's go there. In the last 10 years, more or less, a bit less. It's going to be 10 years in, what, 3 years, guys? I hope you realize that. Can you please, before these 10 years are passed, if you haven't moved, if you realize you haven't moved an inch since then, can you realize, please, that it's time to act? At least let it not be full wasted 10 years. And it isn't wasted, that is also important. Yeah, there we go, that's the thing. It's not wasted time if you improve yourself upon your mistakes. You either win or you make mistakes. That is actually, you win or you learn, pardon me. You win or you learn from your mistakes. A mistake can still be turned into a good thing, but you have to have the guts to face that you have made them. It's a very humbling experience, and it's actually really good. There's a lot of people who can use that. Or at least in my opinion. You win or you learn from these mistakes. Or I suppose you win or you do not learn from these mistakes and you keep on losing. Because that is true losing, I believe, if you do not learn. What do you say? Yeah, you're a loser. Why are you a loser? If you do not learn from your mistakes. Making the mistakes, that is normal. That's life, I would even say. So yeah, there we go. That's the bit I had forgotten. And I called a little pathogen too, right? So look at that, I'm learning as well. I'm gonna try to never say that again. That is to say, you either win or make mistakes. It's a pathogen. Really is. Okay. Make use of your life. Do right by it. Invest well. Try to invest well. And if it wasn't, well, life goes on. But then please learn from it. if you want to have a better society. Oh yeah, and another piece. Wow, suddenly it all floods back in. But I think that's gonna be the final bit. There are these um, there are these people who are incredibly focused on their vitriol towards others, the opposition. And in their vitriol towards the opposition, they completely forget to look after their own, themselves. Granted, some people are just like that, and vitriol is all they have in their lives, but these are not the people I talk to. And I do not care uh, about them that much, because vitriol is all they have. Someone like that is not gonna be your friend, anyways. They may pretend to be, uh, but personally, I've said it before in other videos. Basically, I keep miserable people out of my life. That way, my life is less miserable too. It's really that simple. Epicurus is someone worth listening to about that. The 3 rules of Epicurus. I recommend that one for everyone. That is, yeah, look that guy up. um, yeah. But I talk about those who hold a lot of vitriol towards others, but they've been kinda entrained into being that way. They saw others do it, so they started doing it themselves. But to also ask yourself, like, are you doing it because you hate others, or are you doing it because you love your wife, you love your mom, your dad, brothers, uncles, sisters, aunts, nephews, nieces, friends? You love your people, you love your country. These are very different motivations. And that is acting out of love. That has been so abused, that term. But that is why it's all the more important why it gets taken back. And yeah, that is all I wanted to say on that. Have you invested your time well? If you have, all the better. If you haven't, it's time to learn, guys. Or not, it's up to you. And with that said, I'm gonna go. You'll have a good one and bye.